no,
I appreciate
he's right. It's the city does not watch us and tell us. The board is supposed to have the MTN is supposed to give public access. That we're done. It's done by the board. If the city decides that we're not doing it, they can disband the whole thing. They can't come in and tell us what to do. That's what I wanted.
Right, there you go. Which means the city has oversight and accountability for MTN because it can technically dissolve MTN.
They have accountability for the.
So
if we could,
I know.
in the interest of time.
Yeah. In the interest of time.
They have accountability for public monies. The money that comes off the thing is actually public monies, and they have accountability for that. They give it to us with the understanding that we will run it. If they feel that we've not done our job, then they'll disband the whole thing, yes, but
John,
that's all they do.
can I get 1 minute because I've been kind of interrupted? I'm not disrespectful.
You've had 5 minutes. Well, you've had 5 minutes.
Oh, no, but I was kind of interrupted though. I was trying to make a point. That's all I'm saying. But 1 minute, sorry, just to follow, can I just without interruption? So, as far as I know, because I've read the auditor's report of MTN, MTN does not have any primary funding outside of the city of Minneapolis that could actually be considered something that would sustain this organization without city funding. I would guesstimate that MTN funding accounts for 95% of this organization. 90 at the lowest.
98%.
98, thank you. So that means whoever funds you controls you.
Not in the nonprofit side.
Okay, and that's all I want to deal with. And we probably need a legal statement at this point from the city of Minneapolis, specifically legally, what is the role of the city of Minneapolis in its relationship to MTN? Because as far as I'm concerned, and I'm wrapping up right now, 20 seconds, for you to be a representative of the city of Minneapolis, and the city of Minneapolis has certain values that it likes to expound in the community around equity and racial whatever, you know, this has been the antithesis of what that's not. And so anybody that comes into this organization as a board member or as an executive director, the attitude should be, if there's been a track record of this, we don't just forget about this and move on. We deal with it. We deal with it. And that's point blank. And we don't deal with those things in an hour meeting. We don't deal with those things in an hour meeting where me or anybody else is talking for only 20 minutes for issues that have been here for 2 years and then some. So I'll just say that.
Can I ask you one more thing before you give up the floor? Can you paraphrase what you said in our last, we didn't have a quorum, it was an unofficial meeting. Paraphrase what you said about the changes that you've seen and the approach that we've had toward some of the issues that you brought up. Because these people weren't here last time.
I don't know. If we had notes, we could read it exactly what I said, but
You don't recall? Because I won't ask you.
if you ask me a direct question, I'll answer. I mean, like, did I say something specific that you kind of were hit with, and then I can...
My recollection was that you were encouraged by some of the steps that were being taken.
Yes, absolutely. Guess what? Some of those steps actually go to that racial discrimination. Okay. John, can I answer that since I was asking a direct question?
You've got 30 seconds. We're 40 minutes into our public comment.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was asking a direct question. I'll stop. But one of those things I've been encouraged about is that actually, in a weird kind of way, our delegation requested having these community engagement opportunities for this specific target population of MTN membership that has been dealing with issues of racial discrimination individually or collectively or community, broader community, to actually engage in dialogue with itself and with MTN. Ironically enough, this black delegation that brought this public presentation and from a volunteer narrative, we couldn't do that. MTN actually intercepted our proposal, and it mainly became something that was, I would say, less than less than the impact that it should have been. It was more primarily around MTN staff and a few members that might have came. That was a good step moving forward. That's one of those things, but ironically enough, my understanding is that that community circle group or something like that, whatever it was called, or racial healing, I don't know, whatever the buzzword was, that's been terminated now.
No, that's not true.
Oh,
Have you talked to him to do it? I haven't talked to him yet, but it hasn't been terminated
so
unless you terminate.
We're gonna
Okay.
public commentary here.
Working I specifically
I'm sorry,
remember that
order
being
please,
said.
order.
You had in this organization were the experiences that you had, but I had absolutely nothing to do with it. What I have offered is or I should say, not what I've offered, but what I planned. What I planned is that I want to spend the next 60 or 90 days in conversation with all of the members, not just with the conversation that I had with Ralph. And what I said to Ralph was that I am concerned about what happened. I think that the board took corrective action and recognized that there was a problem with staff, and that those issues and those staff are no longer with the organization. And that what I saw in the posting that was out there was something that I've done a gazillion times in the nonprofit sector. I have had the fortune of having jobs where I knew absolutely nothing. I worked in cardiology with Medtronic. I worked in crime prevention and early childhood. I worked in economic development and ran a loan organization. For all of those jobs, as the leader of those jobs, I didn't know anything about what the service provided. But like any CEO, I know how to run a business. I know how to make money. I want to restore the money that MTN has lost and diversify its funding streams, so it's not only relying on the city, so that it gets money for the other kinds of corporate things that it can do. And what I've done for the organizations that I've run in the last 30 years is I've figured out how to do that. I figured that out because I have relationships with foundations and communities. I've already met with the city and have talked to the city about our relationship with the city. I talked to SPN, I talked to Mike, I've talked to the people in the industry, and this was the deal I got from them. What they said to me was, we will support you, we will help you learn and understand how to build this business. That there are models of executive directors of public access televisions that came in and did exactly what I have proposed to do. And that is, first and foremost, and it's interesting that we say this, because what the staff and I have been doing over the last couple of weeks, and Ollie is here, is I have been meeting with the staff and understanding. And one of the things that I have said is we have an outstanding staff that can run this operation. I don't need to know how to run a camera or do any of the other things with the operation because I've got a phenomenal staff that's capable of doing that. But what Mike Wasserman said and what Chad has said about MTN as an organization is that MTN lacked leadership. That the issue with the organization is that the leaders of this organization previously weren't doing what they were supposed to do. That's not my style of approach. So today my staff and I met. We've all got assignments and we've all got projects and we're all working on this stuff. And these were the three things that I told them. Number one, we are going to meet our contractual obligations with the city. So the work and the public access that you're talking about and the exposure that you're talking about has been in violation of our contract with the city. But we're going to meet that. We're going to understand that. I want programming. I want as much programming as you can give me because the fact that we're not getting new program means that we're in violation of our contract with the city. And I want to change that. I know, Ralph.
well, you
No, I'm not interrupting me. You're not going to interrupt me. You're going to let me finish. And then I'll ask you if you have some questions. You're going to let me finish.
I'm going to let you
Thank
finish,
you.
but you can interrupt me.
Ralph, I'm sorry.
I'm not.
You have a response, 9
No,
minutes.
we're going to improve operations completely with an organization. How are we going to do that? We're going to buy new equipment. We're going to find money and resources for the new equipment that we need so we can, in fact, be a 21st century organization. An economic organization that not only allows people to create videos for The Voice and those kinds of things, but gives our business communities and those much broader access as an economic development strategy, because that's the world that I come out of. So we said that we're going to improve programming, and we talked about how we were going to go about doing that as an organization. So again, I look at leadership not necessarily in terms of being extremely knowledgeable with the product I'm selling. If I'm a good CEO, I can sell you hot dogs or hamburgers. It doesn't really matter. If I know how to build operations and organizations, which I've done in numerous occasions and numerous nonprofit organizations, and my reputation is out there, and you can see organizations that I took from $1 million to $3 million, or organizations that I made $11 million public-private partnership organizations that I brought in national funding, organizations that I've done that with before. I see this as exactly what you see. I see that the voices of our community have not had the access that they should have, and I want to change that. And the way that I want to change that is I want to make this a 21st century organization. So when I look at SPN, and I have conversations with Chad over at SPN, and Chad says to me, here's my strategic plan today, all you have to do is implement this. Then I say, cool, and that's what I'm going to do. The Alliance had a wonderful conversation with Mike, where Mike talked about the kind of leadership that this organization has needed to have for a long time, just to take care of business and to be able to do that. So it's all, as I said to Ollie today, and the rest of the staff today, it's all about process. It's all about developing them as leaders. I don't want to stay here. I've also made that very clear. I am not interested in a long-term job in this organization. My job, Tene Wells Blue Sky Enterprises, is a turnaround for nonprofit organizations, where it takes nonprofits that are not performing well and makes them perform well so that they're sustainable. Every nonprofit that I have started or ran still exists today, and their funding structure is strong and solid. And they've spun off from the city, and they've done all kinds of other things.
That's what you do well, and I think that someday maybe it can be turned over to somebody who can sustain it, who's passionate about the cause and the vision. But you know, I think you wouldn't do yourself any justice in this role if you didn't take it upon yourself to take it as a stretch to solve these issues. You know,
So first of all, let me apologize for cutting you off, but I got emotional on a personal level, and I apologize for that because I don't operate. What I forgot to say, because I distracted myself, was that my plans then over the next 60 days, and that we've talked about this, is to meet with members collectively and individually to continue the discussion that we had with Raj before, to continue the work that we have done, that we started to do before, to meet with you. So I have personally been here. I've introduced myself to members as often as I possibly can. And in each one of those conversations, what I've said is, I want to serve you. And I'm going to invite you. We're going to have like a party, kind of get to know each other. But we're also going to have some, what did we say, Ollie? Member meetings, producers, and producer meetings. Weren't those the individual meetings? So we're going to schedule some individual meetings and some producer meetings with us collectively, focus groups, World Cafe kind of conversations, where you guys are going to be able to tell me exactly what it is that you've said today. And then we're going to talk about how we're going to resolve some of those issues. Not forget them, but amend them. That's what I said. I want to amend what happened, and I want you to tell me how we as an organization can do that. And so with anybody who has had an issue, I want to amend that issue. I want to fix it, and I want to be able for us to move on, and I want to change the value structure within this organization so that that is part of the turnaround. It's not just simply to make this place more inviting, to provide more access. We're simplifying everything. We took our handbook today and we said, this handbook is, who reads this? Who understands what all this stuff is? And I said, it's a reactionary document. It's not a friendly document. So we just changed all the words in it just today. We just talked about how we were going to do that so it's easier and more accessible and people understand it. So those are the kinds of things that working with staff that we're talking about doing. And each time we do that kind of thing, we want to reach out and invite you all to participate in the group. There will be a strategic planning session, and I have asked certain members, I think I asked Ralph, to be on an advisory committee with me. I've asked people on the board, I've asked people to serve on that so that they can bring voice to the board and so that there's voice in that. So that is going to be a broader, but each time we make these moves and make these changes, we're going to do them with your input, and we're going to do them by bringing that information back to you so that you know the direction that we're going in. That's how this transformation is going to occur. And the last thing that I would say, if anybody wants to meet with me on an individual basis at any time, I have tried to make myself accessible, and I will make myself as accessible as I possibly can to be able to do that, to address whatever your personal issue is.
So my brother, let me just say this real quick. I don't like when words float around like attack, because I've already been labeled a threat, crazy, and other things, and that's documented here in MTN. So let me correct you real quick, my brother. There was no attack to Tene at all, not from me. So that's not my vibration
The
at
name
all.
of, is that even as
Right. It's a little bit frustrated around the systemic issues that existed in MTN. And Tene just happens to be walking into systemic issues. It's kind of unfair to her, but there's a higher responsibility as a leader, as a CEO, as you say, to mitigate and deal with those issues and create a culture that is member-friendly in dealing with those issues. Now, personal experience about being attacked. Tene did ask me to, hey Ralph, let's have a meeting about this. Let's meet off-site of MTN at a public
I'm sorry,
restaurant.
you're changing the tone.
Hold
of this
on, Mike.
conversation.
No,
I'm
we
going to
have
call
to
you out
make
of order
time.
on this, Ralph. I'm sorry.
But
The point of
Tene even had to
Ralph,
apologize
you're-
the
I'm
way
sorry,
that
you're
she
out of
talked
order.
to me at a public
Ralph,
restaurant,
no.
which was very disrespectful, and it
Ralph,
wasn't becoming
no.
of a
I'm calling you
CEO
out of
or an
order.
interim executive director. Now,
Ralph,
I've never
we're
been
not-
out of order in a meeting, but I'm going to be out of order with this. Not only was she very disrespectful to my person in a public meeting, in a public place, where her volume escalated to the point where I felt like she was talking to her son or something. I'm a grown man with a family and 2 children, and I have a business too. I'm a paying member of MTN, and I don't deserve any kind of disrespect with that, especially considering around these issues of systemic racial discrimination at MTN. So it was kind of ironic that this is a sister who comes from that tradition and understands those issues, but I'm feeling attacked from her in our first interaction together.
Ralph,
So
okay, I'm sorry. So
that's
we're
how
going to
I-
put the public commentary right here.
I accept your apology, but I just wanted to put that in the
Ralph,
facts.
I'm sorry, no more public commentary. The point of Tene's introduction here was to introduce herself and her vision and her goals for MTN. I hope that many of you heard what she's saying and heard some of her passion and commitment to MTN. We at the board and Tene recognize there are a lot of problems. And Tene has made herself available. The board is also very available too. My email is on the website. Please, we want to hear these problems. So, and we'll be addressing these. Tene mentioned our strategic planning process. This is going to be happening ideally in August, perhaps September. We'll be getting member input at that time as well.
And I want to say this last thing before we close the discussion in reference to the executive director discussion. Lamar implied that,
I didn't imply, I said it.
no, you implied that,
I didn't imply anything, I was blunt.
oh,
I
I'll
said
let you talk, just, you should give me the same courtesy and respect. So,
Okay, go ahead.
then we hired Tene because she had a relationship with me. That is untrue. And also implied that we hired her because she's black and she's a woman, which I find particularly insulting, which is also untrue. So I just want to state that for the record.
Okay, let me just say one thing to everybody in the audience. Would you get on an airplane with someone who'd never flown an airplane before? No. Okay.
So we're going to close the public comments. I did promise Keith 3 minutes. Keith, to wrap this up.
Well, let's not, because I've been around here longer than anybody except for Lamar. I got a timeline. Bessie Hodges is mayor. she used MTN. Who's the governor? Mark Dayton. He used MTN. All right. I mean, we came from the level of that to this man trying to do a presentation that somebody didn't want to do. Right? But this is what I think. If you're going to be a leader in MTN, you need a guy like Lamar.
I'd love to talk to him.
You need somebody like Beck. You need somebody like Rap. You need somebody like him. You need everybody in this room. So everybody, whatever it is you plan to do, everybody in this room should be included because they're here and they care. Everybody in this room should be included. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I agree.
Great, thank you. I think we all agree with that. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is closed to the public, our discussion with the board about the executive director discussion. The city is welcome to sit in on this discussion if you wish. But if,
Discussion, but the public can?
I'm sorry,
The city can stay in the decision, but the public can.
as a spectator, yeah.
Okay, I was just asking. That was kind of like.
And I wish I could tell you how long this discussion will be. I know you probably want to hang around for the rest of the meeting. If we could, we give updates. Maybe we'll set the clock at 15 minutes and we'll give updates to the outside if anyone wants to hang around and see the rest of this meeting.
Can you give me 1 minute
One-
or less?
1 minute, okay.
Okay.
Last comment, and then we'll.
My name is Grama, and I've been introduced to MTN last April by George, and I really appreciate him. I really appreciate you guys exist and working and helping us out. Having this kind of open, respectful, inclusive, talk is very important for our community. So I hope MTN keep doing that. And I need MTN welcoming everybody. We all belong to Minneapolis, and Minneapolis belongs to us too. We care about MTN. We care about our community. So please welcome us. I've never been in this studio before. I'm here because of, I think, Mr. Peterson. He invited me. He told me that MTN is a good place to be, and to address your issue for the public. That's how I'm here. You need somebody, some ambassador like him for this organization. And thank you for this.
Thank you. Thank you. And know, Troy, too, that we do appreciate and love you as an ambassador and everyone else who acts as an ambassador. We do need more of this, too.
We'd remind all of you too that the board meets every third Thursday of the month, and we'd love to see this.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
Okay, so if you could, everyone, step outside the room. We're going to have a closed session for a little bit here.
I'm public, so I can't.
So just to clarify, the city of Minneapolis stays, but the public leaves. That's all.
They told me I was no longer on the board.
CJ will be leaving.
thank you.
Clarifying that.
I think it states in the bylaw, I can stay, but I don't care.
By John, I've worked with.
Okay, not see.
You know,
Does he?
Lamar's still on the board.
Lamar's on the board. Lamar's on the
Am
board.
I to stay or am I to go?
Go.
So I'm not.
Absolutely. But you don't start that relationship by accusing somebody of being.
Wait a minute. Why are you not on the board?
He said I haven't even checked.
What's that?
Okay,
then why are you bringing it back?
Working with my
Val.
the people like this,
Don't go
people I
anywhere.
still go to because of my relationship with MTN.
Well, I have a feeling that my voice is not for wanting to hear.
I'm saying,
I want this to be on record that you guys are not going to bring her back on.
I not know.
We've got it up. Did you?